And hopefully people are arriving. Just let me check my sound. A minute. Let's give you lots and lots of it, then you can turn yourselves down when you want to. And right, well, hello. It's Midsummer's Day, and blessings to everyone. So hopefully you're going to start joining me soon, and we'll get on with it in a minute. At the moment, I was hoping today that we would have sunshine. I'm a Leo. It's an optimism thing, and I would have loved to have had sunshine. But at the moment we have glorious rain, and the garden, all the land, all the farms, all the food producers are really going, yes, we need this. We lost a lot in that fantastic early dry period through the first COVID lockdown, which was very nice for people's emotions, but not very good for anything else. So we're getting the rain back. Looked at the weather before I came, and it does look as though we'll have a bit of sun tonight, or today, this afternoon, and then the rest of the week should be sunny, and Wednesday, Thursday, possibly Friday, could be quite hot. So I'm going to be keeping my head down at that point, because I'm not really very good at the sun anymore. I used to be able to go and lie on Mediterranean beaches forever and ever and soak it up, but really since the menopause, that made a big change, and no I can't. So now I'm an indoor girl, and mad dogs and Englishmen go out in the midday sun as far as I'm concerned. So anyway, welcome everybody, and welcome Midsummer. It's one of the most important festivals of our years. Hello, that's Amanda. Hi. Happy solstice to you, my love, as well. Solstice, Midsummer, very, very important festivals. The two solstices are part of the cycle of 4 sun festivals, and the 2 equinoxes as the other half. You probably all know, and hi Raven, after Midsummer we get less and less light each day. The sun's arc goes down, and we, rather than going whoa as it does up to Midsummer, it goes down, so we get less and less light each day. And the point on the horizon from now, being well north of east at the moment, it gradually comes back to being on the east again at the equinox, and then until midwinter it gets further and further south from the east, which is why the sun changes. Why did I decide to go techie today? Anyway, you probably know, but it is interesting. And hi Isla, and because it's actually how it works. And funnily enough, spiritual work, all this work with our old ways, magic, actually relates very strongly to the earth, to the sun, and to how everything works together. It's seriously important to remember that, because we sort of try and do things, and we've been very much encouraged, particularly since about 1800 and the dreaded Age of Enlightenment. I call it the Age of Endarkenment. When we had reason and all of the stuff that we're talking about now was horrible superstition and stupid, and it wasn't true and it didn't work. Anyway, we all know that's rubbish, so that's fine. So we don't have to work with that. But we do need to get connected back into these times. Now, one of the things about solstices is the word solstice means standstill. And that's actually really important for all of our work. The solstice begins, usually, say the 21st of June or the 21st of December. It'll wobble and vary because our human calendar is not as accurate as the cosmic calendar, which is what the sun works to. The sun actually doesn't work to our human calendar. Something perhaps we ought to sort of scratch our heads on, but anyway, it doesn't. But 21st of June, 21st December's fair enough. So in our workings, can you see this hand? It's a bit clawy. We'll do our best. Anyway, we have Midsummer's Eve, 20th. Midsummer's Day, 21st, 22nd and 23rd. Now those, Midsummer's Day, which is when it is at its highest point, and then we have 3 days, 22nd, 23rd, 24th, when, if you were able to observe it, and you may be able to observe it, you actually mark tomorrow morning, get up early, much easier at winter, get up early and mark where on your horizon the sun rises. And then do it again on Tuesday and on Wednesday. And you'll see it's the same. Now, you probably haven't got the kit to do it because you probably need a whole load of, special scientific instruments that mark the point on the horizon properly and all this sort of thing. But it does, and people with scientific instruments have done it. And then, so we have 21st, highest point today, 22nd, 23rd, 24th, the standstill, the time when the sun apparently rises on the same point of the horizon every day. And then we have 25th, remember that date, 25th, when the sun moves on again. Actually starts moving backwards, but it moves and it no longer rises on the same point of the horizon every day. So you have 3 days of standstill at midsummer and again at midwinter. Now, I was brought up that these 3 days are really important and they're part of what we should always use every time the solstice comes around, every 6 months. So I prepare myself on Midsummer's Eve, get my act together, start working things out, start looking for things, and any sort of physical stuff that I need, cards, candles, drink, flowers, whatever. And I also get, oh, I didn't bring a pen. Never mind. You can work this out. I get a sheet of paper, a nice blank sheet of paper, not like the ones I've written over here, and I divide it into 2 columns. And on one column I have the word happy, pleasant at the top, and on the other column I have the words unhappy, unpleasant. And so I then spend some time, and I certainly don't intend to complete it, on Midsummer's Eve, and I start writing down just jottings of things that have been really wonderful and happy and pleasant for me during those past 6 months, and things that have been hurty, not so pleasant on the other side. So, hi, and I end up with this 2-column list, and I keep doing that on and off through Midsummer's Day, and then comes the days of the standstill, the 3 days, and I take that list and I give myself time for a cup of tea. I'm British. We live on tea, never mind air, we live on tea. Take the tea away, we will die. The air we probably manage somehow. Anyway, I live on tea. So whatever your personal thing is, I get myself a pot of tea and I sit with my list, and while I'm drinking the tea, I'm there going through the list, and I'm just pondering and spending time with each of the things on each side of the list, with the happy things and with the unhappy things. And I also make links across to them, because you'll find they very often link, that an unhappy one is actually linked to a happy one. And you haven't seen that at first, because you haven't given it time. And so this standstill time gives you the time to see the links across, and look at them and feel deeply into them. And it really is worth feeling in, because, and it's even to the unhappy, well, especially to the unhappy ones, because we need to know them, and we need to actually become friends with them. The unhappy things unpleasant things are very much our friends, and they're asking for our attention. That's why they hurt, the emotional feeling. And so they really need your attention, whereas the happy ones are sort of basically, you know, the kids who are not being neglected and they're being fine and they've got their ice cream and they're bounding around the park and it's all fine. The unhappy ones are the ones who've been shut out, the ones who've been left in a corner, the ones who don't get any ice cream. And those are the unhappy things that occur in our lives, and we need to sort that, and we need to sort it in ourselves. And I was brought up that we spent the solstice time sorting this out so that we didn't cart a load of miserable baggage or a load of idiotic happy baggage, because that can be just as daft, around for the following 6 months, that we tidied up. I'm sure when you were a kid, Mum sort of said, "Go and tidy your room." I certainly got that. It's like, "You're not coming out until it's tidy." And probably about every 3 months, actually. I think Mother could stand it for 6. And anyway, so one does. And you actually get into learning that it's quite a good idea, and you find stuff that, you thought you'd lost, which is really nice. Or you think, where did I get that? Oh my God, have I still got that? And it out, you know, you can get rid of it. I call it past its sell-by date. And the things on your list also need treating that way. Do I still need this? You know, maybe you still need this unhappy situation. Maybe it's not resolved. Maybe it needs to be fixed. Maybe it needs to be sorted further. Maybe it just needs to be packed up gently and said thank you very much and allowed to go away and dissolve. But as long as it's nagging and hooked into your mind somewhere, it won't. So that's a really big thing that I do every solstice, midsummer and midwinter. And as the sun changes and, you know, goes as it is now, its arc gets lower and lower and lower every day, you know, I'm working and I've got a new place to be, because it's not full of all that baggage. And then midwinter, back on the process again, doing it up, 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 up. Now I did some preparation yesterday. Got a few niggles happening to me at the moment that need sorting out. Who hasn't? Hands up. Didn't see any hands. That's good. Right. So I've got these niggles that need sorting. So I went out for a walk. I like doing things out for a walk. I think quite a lot of people actually do. And it's very nice because I can go down my lane, even with my bad back, as long as I've got my sticks. The lane is quite walkable, the surface is okay, I'm not going to fall over and trip, and then I can walk up the little tiny lane. I mean, your car touches the hedges both sides, it's that narrow. Up the little lane, and up the lane again, and I get to a little village at the top of the hill called Picklescott. Love it. It comes from Pickles Cottage, where, you know, Pickles was obviously somebody important. Or Pickle was obviously somebody important, because the Pickles is the, it belongs to him, her. And anyway, I walked up there, and all the way up, I can see through the gates and the gaps in the hedges, I can see the Caradoc Mountain. As you all know, my mountain, why I'm here, totally in love with it, etc. You know, I've got this thing about it. I do. But it is gorgeous. And it's sort of pointy too, which is really exciting. Anyway, I keep seeing him. And he's my guardian, my mentor here. He brought me here when we, you know, had to move last year, and I hadn't got a clue what to do, and I was going around like, you know, that proverbial fly, or a headless chicken. And so, you know, actually I sort of slowed down, sat down, and said, "Is there anybody out there can help me?" And he said, "Yes, me. If only you'd shut up and sit down and listen." So, sit down and listen. I did. So he brought me here. Very quickly, actually, once I'd sat down and listened. It's worth noting that, you know, as soon as I got out of my own way and stopped freaking and panicking, it's like this. Oh, right, okay. We're not very good at that We need to learn it. Something else to put on your list. Anyway, so I went up the hill, and I was going up, and I was sort of chatting to him as I thought, you know, what do I do about this? What do you think? You know, I mean, should I stop? Should I start? Should I give up? Should I go on? What? Because he'd sort of set me on this path in the first place. So anyway, up a bit of the hill, and then down into a little dip, and right across the road, in the dip, is this stream. I'd totally forgotten it was there. You know, brains awash. Sorry, I'm take no notice. Anyway, I found the stream again. I went, oh yes, hello, it's you. And came down. Now, another thing I was taught as a child, and I've used all the time, and I teach all my students because it really works. When you get to a stream, and it can be a bridge, it doesn't have to. I have to actually walk through this stream because it goes right across the road, which is absolutely fine. Didn't matter. So, but when you get to a stream, you stop on the side you're on, and you say, "Hi, great to see you again. Lovely to meet you. I'd like to cross you, and I would like to do a little clearing ritual for myself. Can you help?" Note that. Can you help? You ask for the help. And I've not yet, well, no, I have known two people that I know very well, and I know why. They actually got no, not here. So do listen, because it can happen. They found the right place and did it right. But usually you get yes. And so walk into the middle of the stream and face downstream, so that the river's running away from you, running away. And you stand there and you just bring the issue to mind, and you think, right, I'm letting go of all the, I'm letting go of all the shit that is attached to this issue. I no longer need it. I don't wish to be involved with it. I give it to you. Please take it away and dissolve it. Remember, water dissolves. Dissolve it, take it back to its emotional atoms and its physical atoms, and just dissipate it back into the sea so that it can then be sucked up into the clouds and come down as rain. Lovely cycle. And it can grow into something new, but it's not clutched to me anymore. I've let it go. It can dissolve itself. It can go and do what it wants to do. And I haven't had to work out what to do about it at all. In fact, I would only get in the way if I tried to work that out. I'd probably make a complete cock-up of it. Most of us would. So you let the earth, let the water, let the stream take it. And you actually feel something. I always do, and most people, well, every student that I've ever worked with this, is they get a physical feeling of this, oh, it's gone. Oh. And then you turn round and you face upstream. So now the water's coming to you, it's flowing towards you, coming to you all the time. And so you then sort of stand, open yourself. I usually find, most people find they usually open their arms because it opens your chest and it opens your heart area, and you feel, hello. It's like when you go to hug somebody. So you sort of go to hug the stream. And you say, right, I'm pretty empty, and I'm certainly ready and willing to have all the new stuff that you have for me, and I don't know what it is, but the new stuff that you have for me that will help me flow easily through this situation and provide a solution that is good for all parties. You don't need to know what it is. Probably better if you don't at the moment. You'll probably stick your feet in it and make a mess. So you just ask for the water, the blood of the earth, the silver communication of the earth to come into you and just put the stuff in you. And you know when you're on the internet and somebody sends you a big packet of photographs and it comes in a sort of compressed file and you have to open it? It's a bit like that. The information comes to you in a package. You do not need to fix it and sort it there. Just take it and say, thank you very much. Bow to the stream. I come out to the other side of the stream, and then I turn round and I bow again and I say, thank you very much. That was very nice. And so I did. And you walk on. I walked on up the hill. And I started to feel better already. My head had been really fuzzy with all this shit that was going on, and like, oh my God, what am I doing? You know how it is. So I carried on walking up, and of course, there was my mountain through the next gap in the trees. And how am I doing? You're doing okay. Okay, carry on up the mountain. Get to a corner, big gap, lovely view of the mountain. So, how am I doing? Is there anything I need to do? Got an idea for my next step? And so, yeah, go and write this. Go and write this course. It's this particular course I want you to start with. Start with the first lesson. When you get home, make a cup of tea, start writing the lesson. So, okay, fine. And carried on up, got to the little village, had a look around, said hi to somebody I know up there, and turned around and came back. You come back pretty well the same way. So there I was, and I sort of waved to the mountain. Still doing okay? Yeah, you're fine. So I did stop, when I got to the beautiful view bit again on the way home, and I stopped again. And I said, "You sure I ought to be doing this? Am I doing it right?" He said, "Yeah, you carry on." And I'm working on it with my friend Fiona, which would be lovely. So I said, okay for Fiona? Yes, you both get on with it. Stop, excuse me, pissing about, and get on with it. So go do it and have a chat with her later. Fine, I did. So I came back down. Guess what? I met that stream again. I did it again from the other side. Now, this is really interesting, and it's very worthwhile thinking, because you're on one side and you go to the other, and then you're on this side and you come back to the other one, the first one. So this stream is a threshold. You do any work with me, you'll hear me banging on about thresholds the whole time. We live on thresholds. We live on the edge. We really do, all the time. Anyway, here I was at my threshold again, and I thought, actually, it's quite, it felt really wrong to just paddle through the stream and say hi. So I stopped again by the stream and said, "Hi, I'm back. Like to cross. I feel I should do the clearing ritual and the accepting ritual again." "Yep, get in here." So, plap, 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 into the stream. Downstream first. Let go of any extra shit that I'd accumulated in my cogitations and my work going up and down the hill, even then, and anything that was left behind from before. But even in that time, I had changed, and I had acquired more shit, and possibly didn't need it all. Some I did, some I didn't. So it was, right, clean me out. Thank you very much. Turned round. Bit more empty space again. So, looking upstream, water flowing towards me again, I say, "Thank you. Now, I think I've got a little bit room for any more, if you've got any more to give me." Very happy. So, yay. And, yep, there was a little bit more about another very short course. Well, not very short, medium length course they want me to write. And so I thought, yeah, okay, I'll stack that up, and I'm supposed to be doing that later today, so I should be getting on with that. I did the one that they said first yesterday, and it's the script for it is off with Fiona being looked at now, so I'll probably put the video together next week, and it's not going to be ready yet. It's going to be Lammas before it's ready. We've got to tidy ourselves up and make sure we're going, and how to give it to you. So we're working, and that's it. But anyway, I got my answer again. Do you see? And I wasn't asking for anything specific. I was just saying, this is what I feel, this is my problem, this is where I'm stuck. Show me the next step. Show me where to go next. Show me what to do. And because I was open and allowing, answers came. It takes practice to get there. We're not used to it. And we're told that we've got to work everything out in our heads and think it up and work it up for ourselves. And no, you don't. But letting go of the control where you feel you ought to be fixing it yourself is very hard work. The old ways give you lots and lots of exercises and practices where you can do this. So, I've had 70 odd years of this now, so I'm mildly adept at it. Fiona's had all her life too, so she's mildly adept at it. But we're trying to, sort of bring it along and let people go. And Midsummer is such a big change. You're going from more light every day to more dark every day. That's huge. That makes such a difference to our lives. And it even makes a difference to little things like when you turn the light on. It won't be the same. It becomes more noticeable after a couple of months, but it actually changes every single day. We're just so sort of blasé and not looking and that we don't notice. It's a good idea to learn to notice in that sort of way. It really helps. Now, I did work with cards again. So, as ever, I'm working with this. Somebody said it's over £2,000. Anyway, I'm working with my lovely Greenwood Tarot again. And I do like a lot of the things that Mark Ryan says in the book. I had a little look again this morning. A couple I want to read to you, so just let me find what it is that I wish to read, and I will give you two. Right, one thing is, no, let's not start with that one. Let's start with a different one, if I can find it. Right. This is such superb advice, and it's the beginning of the book in the preface. He says, Mark says, the best advice I ever got about the tarot was, read the book, meditate with the cards, then put the book away and do your own thing. That's what working with the other world is about. They don't want flower pots and clones and things, so we have to learn that, we can't be that specific. It's not that kind of thing that we do. So the other one, which I find really useful, and it's very important, it's been important for me over this sort of little glitchy, nasty bit that's happening. Mark says, a wise man once said to me, we always hate in others what we fear most in ourselves. Gosh. Think about that. That is so true. If you don't like something in somebody, betcha that it's because it's in you and you haven't yet admitted it. Now, that takes me immediately back to the 2-column list. Remember the 2-column list we started with? Happiness and unhappiness? The things you dislike in the other person or the place or the situation or the government or whatever the hell it is you're thinking about, you will find those things in you, probably hidden away, carefully worded and beautifully veiled in your unhappiness list. That can be a bit hard to take sometimes. I'm not like that. I couldn't do that. Did you see my posture then? Shoulders up, tight as hell, neck tight. You're not going to hit me. And we do that. You watch people. We all do it. You've got to be loose. You've got to say, maybe it is. I'll go look. Get a few allies around you. Have a look. Ask them to help you see. And ask them to help you clear it, soothe it, be gentle it. Right, excuse me a minute. I just got to grab something if I can reach him from over there, which I may be able to do some of the thumbs. Come here. Come on. Little rattles and things. Okay, I got him. I had a feeling he was going to want to come. No. Now you may not be able to see him at first. Can you see there's a black bundle in my arms? Well, Pearlies. Whoops, game over there. Pearlies, I'm going to hold your wings. Okay. Can you see his tail? His bird? No, he's not a crow. He's quite definitely not a crow, because he's actually got, how can I show it to you? Get him against the light. That is actually supposed to be a diamond-shaped tail. That's a raven. Long, long story. We'll tell you sometime. Raven has been one of my familiar spirits, guardians, friends for a long time, and normally I make spirit dolls. This velveteen raven was at Tintagel. I had to have one. I was there with half a dozen students, and they all had to have one too. We ran the shop out of ravens. Real joke, don't worry. Anyway, back to, see what I'm doing, back to the thing that you don't like in yourself. Get your raven, get whatever it is that turns you on, and say, hey, help me with this. And very often the spirit within that, yeah, we're all animists, there is spirit in a velveteen raven. There is. The spirit will come and say to you, look at this. You remember when you did that? Yeah. Oh, so I did. Didn't want to know about that. No, but you've got to know about that, because you can't clear it away if you don't know it's there. It's a very simple thing, a bit like house cleaning. I mean, how are you going to brush the dust off the windowsill if you don't look? How are you going to know it's there on top of the cupboard if you don't look? You actually have to do the looking, and it's important. Midsummer is a time for that. You're going to stay with me? You think you are? Okay, we'll stay together. And this standstill way of working is really, really fun. It's how you do it. Now, I said in the little wee video I said announcing this the other day. Yesterday? Gosh, really? Anyway, then I said it would be about myths and moths and things that go bump in the night. Well, we've done some of the bump in the night stuff. My issues, the problems that I'm having with life at the moment, and how I've tried to recognize them, and how I haven't tried to solve them for myself. I've actually taken them to other world and asked for help, and they're not solved yet, and it may take a while, but I keep checking and I keep knowing I'm walking on the path that will work. And I don't have to know what the solution is, and I don't have to decide that it has to be this solution, otherwise I won't accept it. In fact, that's how to screw up completely. So we're walking, flowing with the river, allowing things to happen. And I'm taking some of the shit that may be a bit hard to deal with, and talking to my lovely black raven here. Another thing about raven, for me, is ravens are carrion birds, and they are predators, but mostly they're carrion. And carrion means they eat up what has been thrown away. These are part of nature's refuse collectors and deal with this, and they don't just take it and dump it in a ship and send it off to China. They deal with it through themselves by eating it, by enabling other creatures to eat it, opening up a body, for instance. And then the whole thing dissolves back into its component atoms, into the earth, so it can become something new. Ravens, crows, jackdaws, buzzards, vultures. They've had tremendous trouble in Africa because they thought, oh, kill off horrible vultures, they're ugly looking things anyway. And now they're up to their ears in wildebeest after the wildebeest crossing, and it's wrecked all the streams and the watercourses and everything else. Does it ever sort of strike you that human beings are total klutzes? We just don't think. We think, here, end of nose. We don't think forward. Now again, this 2-column list, the work you do at Midsummer, enables you to compare and to look and to make connections and to start thinking forward with a mind a bit more open. You're not living in a box. Living in a box is about absorbing myths. We have lots of myths. Let me just see. I've got a list of myths here that I made. Somewhere. Yep. Okay. I think I need my glasses. Excuse me. Sorry, Raven. I'll get there. Okay. So, a little list of myths that just came off the top of my head over my breakfast cup of tea. Insurance policies. Regular meals. Proper family values. Sensible politics. Good government. Believing adverts. And believing what the media tells. Well, it's got to be right. The Groniad told me, the Telegraph told me, Google told me, Wikipedia told me, whatever. And we believe them. And we believe the top story, the one that the relevant media thing is using to grab our attention. But we don't delve underneath it. You know, you get a nice shock horror headline on Daily Whale or something. And that's what you're focused into. If you actually took the story apart a bit and spent, 10 or 15 minutes hunting up the sources of that story, you might find that actually it was the other way up. But they're not going to tell you that because they want you to read them and they want you to support them and they want you to buy from the people who are supporting them. And do I sound tired? I feel it. It's money, greed, and people who believe myths, the latest myth, the good government myth, the myth Boris tells you, the myth Trump tells you, the myth your local councillor tells you, the myth you read in the Daily Whale or whatever it is. If you believe those myths, they can get you to believe others. So we just take away all of our sense of discrimination and discernment and our curiosity, and we don't look. We say, oh yeah, okay, fine. And that's living in boxes and living in myths. Wrong myths. Let's go back to the old ones. The old ones were teaching tales that told us how not to live in boxes and how not to fall for myths. So, there we go. Yeah. Sorry, Raven's shouting at me as well. So, part of that 2-column list thing is to actually look at those normal boxes again, as I said, and see what actually fits. What do you need? What do you need to keep? What do you need to throw away? What is actually going on? And solstice, the time of change, when the sun literally changes from doing that to doing that, because of the arc, because of the direction he now goes into rise. Instead of going northwards, away from the east, he's now coming southwards, back towards the east for the next 3 months. It's enormous, that change. It's really beautiful. And we need to take it on board that we can actually do things and we can actually help. We don't take things for granted. We don't swallow the myths. So, it's about moths. Well, moths used to be a thing of mine. Have I written anything useful in here? Yes, I did. Okay, where's my glasses gone again? All very well having my cataracts done, but I can't read close up now. I have to wear glasses. I used to be terrified of moths. Moths came in the room, I ran. I literally ran out of the room. I mean, I know there is nothing wrong with moths, even if the Telegraph has just recently been telling you the moth is going to kill you. Oh my God! Oh my God! You know, read to the bottom of that story and find out more about what they're talking about. Don't just believe what the Telegraph has said. New moth myth. So I used to be scared and run out of the room. It was something about their shape and their fat body that was like, ugh. I love butterflies, and they were sort of delicate and graceful, and, you know, like Arthur Rackham's fairies and this sort of thing. And moths, ugh. And they fold their wings differently too. I mean, you know, butterflies fold up, and moths fold round the back, so they look differently. Well, most do. Moths come out at night. Well, I've never had a night problem. I love going out in the dark. I love being in the dark as much as I love being in the daytime. But they are somehow odd. And so I could not be with them. So there was a whole range of nature which really I could not be with. And that really upsets me. I hate, you know, some part of nature that I can't, that scares me and stops me and makes my muscles tense. Well, I didn't consciously do anything to stop it or to change it. I mean, I tried and, you know, did various exercises people said, and it was like, but what happened eventually was actually the menopause. Now, there's another big change, a big physical change. Now you think, okay, yes, you know, I'm going to stop menstruating, I can't have children anymore, I may get hot flushes and headaches and all sorts of weirdness and blah, blah, blah. All the usual rubbish about menopause. Stuff that happens that feels like, probably goes into the unpleasant list on your 2-column list. Think about that. Is it? Anyway, don't worry about that. So, that happened. It took me a long time to do my menopause. I started very early. I started when I was 42. And it took me over 10 years to work the whole process through. But in that process, my consciousness changed as well as the physical. And I could see moths. I could feel them. It was all right. You know, a moth. Not only could I be in the room with one at last, but I could actually have one sit on my hand. I remember the first time that happened. And, you know, stop. It was one of those lovely lacy ones, the pale, creamy white ones with the lovely brown lacy wings. And it was just like, oh my God, you are so beautiful. I want to stroke it. Not a good idea, because they actually carry dusts and pollens and things on their wings which actually help them fly. If you stroke them, you're going to rub that off and you're going to put your own grease on from your hands. So, you know, lots of reasons why I don't. But this moth chose to sit on me, and it's like, oh, wow. My moth box opened. I could actually stick my head out of it. I could actually smell the coffee, as we used to say back in the 60s. It was fantastic. So that was really just a little example of what happens for you when you actually start to work with the things that you fear and that you hate and that you're scared of, and say, I'll never do that. It's never going to happen to me. You know, never is a very bad word to use. But all of that stuff, once you stop saying that, and you allow things in, you start to get there. It starts to become real and possible. I said I was using the cards. I am. Well, this is, we'll enter back. This is the Midsummer card. This is the sun. I love Cheska's drawings. I just love Cheska's drawings. The sun, the heart, and our horse, our dragon. Is the Uffington White Horse a horse or a dragon? Or both? For me, both. There, rising, the sun rising. This is the moment. And the next 3 days are what you've got. from today, so you can start now, today, with your list, and you've got the next 3 days to work with this, bringing yourself together. Now, working with that, I'll show you a bit more about it in a minute. Of course, excuse me, Raven decided to be here, definitely, are the green woman, and get back a bit, the green man. They are the two sides of the sun, the goddess and the god. And the sun, like everything, has two sides. All of our things are two-faced, two sides. There is in and out, I and thou, light and dark. And the green man and the green woman hold it for the midsummer. I love the pictures anyway. As I said, I just drool over Cheska's drawings. They're really, really beautiful. So here again is another version of your 2-column list. I do this. I put green man at the top of one column and green woman at the top of the other. Now, it doesn't always turn out, you know, green woman isn't always the positive one and green man isn't always the negative one. So don't get caught. Don't get into another box. You know, I just put them down and see which side they come. You know, turn them over, wobble them about, la 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 la, and plonk. So this time I've actually got, the other time, previous time it was that way around. This time I've got green woman. We'll get there. I'm not doing this well. Green woman and green man. And the one on my left would normally be my positives, my happiness column, and the one on the right would be the one to work on, my unhappiness column. But do it for yourself and see which, the green man or the green woman, and you can just write them or draw your own cards. I know you can't afford one of these bloody packs anymore, and I'm certainly not giving mine away, but you can draw your own green man and your own green woman card and put them there and shuffle them back and then put them down and say, I've got a negative, you know, I've got my unhappiness column and I've got my happiness column. Which of you wishes to stand over my happiness column? And you might find that it was green man. And he says, I can help you with that. Put me there. I will help you. So you check it again with green woman and say, would you help me with my unhappiness column? And she goes, yes, I will. Put me there and I will help you. So you add in examples of the goddess and the god, the feminine and the masculine, the energies, the two intertwining energies that create everything for you. And you add them both in to your 2-column meditation and you ask for the help. Remember, like the stream, you know, downstream and upstream? Yeah? And you say, help me. And you offer them the problem and then you accept what they say. You don't have to accept it without question, but take it in to start with. Don't start arguing as soon as somebody says something. You know, sit back and go, yes, I'll think about that. I'll ponder on that. I'll work with that. Or as we say in our work, I will sit with that and see what comes from it. Because if you sit with something, sitting with Raven, you sit with something, it allows to be a flow from it to you and from you to it. And again you have, well, where is it? I've got it here. You have, goodness gracious me, you have this. Yep. You have this two-way flow, both dragons working. And you're not stuck in the either or. You are there in the and. And balance is about and. And where you want to be is where you can dance easily, where you can balance, where you can move. Now, I'm balanced all the time, but I'm not even. Do you see? I'm all over the shop. But I'm still balanced. And I'm flowing, and everything is moving. And in the dragons, they're flowing. The fires are moving between them, and they're making more fires. I mean, look at this, across the middle. Look at this. Through the brow and what's coming through. Look at under the earth and what's happening. And they're flowing. And so you're going to do that with your 2-column list. Probably. You might say, bugger that, I'm not doing what she says. Oh, shan't. That's fine. Or, I don't feel like that. That's fine. But it's a suggestion. And it might come up for you later. So, don't push it away. Just say, okay, I'll use it now. Or, okay, I'll put it on the shelf and I'll work on it. And then all of a sudden you'll find it falls on your head and you work with it. And you're working with it. Because you're allowing it to come to you. And you're allowing yourself to be ready. You're not forcing yourself into doing something even when you're not ready. There are times for that. But at this stage, no. This stage, it's let it happen. So, as well as his glorious self, the sun, I also have, for this time, for me, this card, reflection. It's like the moon goddess and the water and the cauldron and the light, and it's flowing through, yeah? And she's dark, but she's holding the light. Now, that's an important thing. In order to reflect, we take stuff in. It's almost like you putting the ingredients of a meal into your cauldron. Excuse me. And so that cauldron is like the womb, and for us, for mammals, using the womb, it's a bit like that with an egg, but you get more light through an egg. We are in the dark, and we are creating in the dark, and a lot of the time we can't see. And yeah, actually, despite what the books tell you, an awful lot of people can remember being in the womb. I've met a lot. I do. But I've met a lot else who do. And it helps because you stop, we're back to myths again, you stop believing the myths that the book tells you. You think, but I can do that. And so you say, well, myths out the window. I can do that. I mean, when I was gardening, I think I've said this before, and I was on my gardening course, lovely plants man, and we used to come in with stories about what our plants had done. And his answer would be, plant hasn't read the book. Your spirit hasn't read the book. It doesn't know the rules, and it's not following them. Got it? Okay. It may be, but the books were written by people. I mean, even my books were written by people, really, honestly. So, books are written by people. And people always come at it from their point of view, like you're getting all this from my point of view. It's not the only one. There are others. And you need to not follow blindly any particular person, even me. You need to pull the information together, look at it, sort it, and blend what you want into this lovely, come here, it's got stuck on it now, this lovely balance. And to do that, you really need reflection. So this time, this 3-day standstill at the solstice, is a time of reflection. Now there's another figure there, apart from the beautiful goddess figure, there's a crane. Cranes are just so important in the old British ways. You may have heard people talk about the crane bag. And I just got a call there. You've got to write that course too. Okay. Fine. The crane bag is a story, and it's to do with Manawyddan, the sea god. His particular place in Britain, or one of his very strong places, is actually the Isle of Man. And Man, M-A-N-N, as they spell it, which is right, comes out of Manawyddan. Manawyddan is the old Brythonic word for the sea god. He's the traveller. He's also the god, one of the gods who takes the boat between worlds. So he's a threshold god. They all are in their own way. And he married a lovely goddess, and she was attacked by this other woman who wanted to steal her place, and she was killed. Well, first of all, she was turned into a crane, and then she was killed. And Manawyddan was heartbroken, and there were various vengeance things that happened, but he was heartbroken, and he took the crane's skin, which had been the skin of his wife, and he took the crane's skin and he made this beautiful bag, and in it he put the 12 treasures of Britain, and he put it at the tide mark, where the tide comes in and goes out, just where it changes. So the bag was slightly in water, even at the lowest tides, and fully covered when that tide was full. And when the tide was full, it was gone, hidden in the water. And when the tide went out, you could see the treasures in the bag. There are lots of other stories about heroes who, for some reason or another, want to go and take it and steal it, and there's very good Irish stories about that, which I'll get Fiona to tell sometime. But it is the treasure. And the treasure is part of your spirit, it's part of your skills, it's part of what makes you tick, what makes us all tick. And we will have a crane bag, and in our old ways it's one of the things that we make. We craft for ourselves our own crane bag, all sorts of shapes. I'm going to go and find a crane or do anything weird like that. And so what this card is actually saying as well is that you're reflecting, but you're also reflecting what is within your crane. What is within your crane bag? And here again, you're looking, because the contents of your crane bag does not stay the same. It doesn't stay the same shape or the same contents all your life. You'll find that suddenly something, I mean literally something can be gone and you know you didn't take it out and it's gone. Or something's appeared and you know you didn't put it in there, but it's there. Other world do this. And then there are other things that you look at them and you think, actually, that doesn't feel right anymore in my crane bag. It doesn't need to be there. So you can stop and you take the thing and you ask it, do you want to be in my crane bag anymore? Are we supposed to work together like that? And very likely, whatever it is, will say, no, we've done our stuff, now you can put me wherever it is, and I can get on with doing the next job that I've got to do, and so can you. Change. That's what life is. And the treasures of Britain change in a sense. The spirits of them are there, and they will be for you, but they change in their where they need to be, how they need to be seen, who uses them, what happens, and your spirit chooses what changes and what needs to happen and what you need in your life today. Today, in the present. Not in the future, not in the past, both of which are useful and necessary. But the thing is to live in the day that you are in, to be present. It's become very fashionable now and put over through mindfulness courses, which largely come from the East. But we've had this in our own old ways. Oh, forever. I mean, what old native indigenous type people hasn't got that? What people connected with the land don't know that they must live now, that the past is important and the future is important, but now is when you live. The 2-column list, the 3 days of Standstill, will help you find where your current now is, and you will be able to work it. And I really do wish you joy of it. I find it joyful, and I'm hoping that you will all find it joyful too. So, I shall pick 2 cards. And off you go. Go and ask with the sun, do your 2-column list. Go play and bring it all to balance. Gradually, one step at a time. Take care, everyone, and I'll see you next week. Have a really good week and a brilliant solstice. Bye.